Welcome to By His Grace podcast. Not worthy, but worth it. I'm Tansha Ward, and I would like to welcome you to the podcast. On tonight, I am going to have my sister in Christ, Minister Tina Armstrong. She will be joining so that she can tell her story of walking in purpose and living on purpose, but also helping others to live in purpose. Let's bring her into the podcast so that she can come in and tell her story. We'll give her a few seconds to join in, and then we will begin to speak with her, and you will be able to hear her story of how she is living in purpose, on purpose. While we're waiting on her to come in, I just want to thank each of you who continually support the podcast week after week. I thank you for your encouragement. I thank you for tuning in week after week and hearing the stories from the amazing guests that God has placed in our care and those who are willing to accept the invite to come on and be a part of what we have going on here. So I thank you for joining in. We'll see if we can get her to come in. Let's see if we can bring her back in. Looks like she's joining in now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Please excuse my signal. It's about the storm in Houston, and I'm in a car because tonight is my granddaughter's 8th grade prom and my nephew's 8th grade prom. So we're all getting ready in the house. So I'm in a car, so the signal may be a little bad. Please forgive me, but I'm here.
Okay, well, thank you again for joining in. And you explained to us that you would describe yourself as a fighter,
Yes.
and that is the word that you would use to describe yourself because you handle everything that's coming to you and you hang in there.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
let's pick up where the signal dropped, and you were
Okay.
sharing that how would your husband describe you at the couples group?
So we had a couples getaway this past weekend, and one of the questions was how would no if your spouse had a superpower, what would it be? And so he said she probably always be in stealth mode, which is I'm there but I'm invisible, but in my invisibility I can see everything around me. And so he just said she's always there. She's always around. A lot of times, a lot of people don't see me because I'm usually somewhere in the background. And I told you that my pastor said I'm great at being a supporting cast because I'm always in the background. I'm always moving, but a lot of times you don't see me. I'm that one that you don't see a lot, but you be like, I know she here somewhere, and that would be my superpower.
Well, good. That is excellent that you are present and
Yes,
you learn to be present in the moment, but you don't have to be seen.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the young Tina, who was she?
The young Tina was very quiet. Again, um I was telling you that my grandmother is a pastor and apostle, and she's been all of my life. And the young Tina was just very quiet, timid, in the background, but always next to her. But very observant. She taught that and instilled that in me to be very observant, not just in church, but when you're out eating or when you're out move, whatever it is, just be very observant um of your surroundings. And so that was me again, stealth mode. Back then when you were around adults, you were seen, but you were quiet.
Right.
So like I said, I was always with her, always next to her, learning and all of that, but I was in stealth mode. I was there, but I was behind the scenes, just observing. So that was young Tina, just trying to figure out where God wanted me, what are my gifts, what am I supposed to be doing. So I was even young in stealth mode, there but not there, but being observant. So that's young
Excellent.
Tina.
Yes, that's excellent. And that's a great quality to have, because sometimes when God gives us things, it's not for us to speak on it
Right,
immediately, but we
right,
have to
right.
know how to sit in it and wait till we are released by the
Absolutely,
Spirit to tell it.
absolutely,
So you have to have
absolutely.
some discipline.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, not knocking anybody, but I think, this day and age, we have so many people who want to be seen, who want to be uh, in the spotlight and all of that. And I'm glad God kind of gave me that quality of, I don't mind being a supporting cast. I don't mind being in the background. Long as I'm doing what God wants me to do, I'm okay. You don't have to see me. You don't even have to know I helped with the program. You don't have to know I helped brought the food in. I just want to be in his presence and
Yes,
be obedient to what he wants me to do. So that's Tina in a nutshell.
but that
It's
is awesome, because you
yes,
need people
ma'am.
like that. You need people like that,
Absolutely.
because the front
Absolutely.
gets crowded, and sometimes
Oh,
sometimes it can be a mess up there.
come on.
Yes,
Come on. Come on. Yeah. So I love what God is doing with me. I love being that person, like I said again, in that back, but building and pushing the people who are in the front. And you don't never have to mention my name. You
right.
don't. But long as again I'm where God wants me to be, long as His presence is with me and I'm there doing what He told me to do, I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm okay helping build. I'm great at helping.
Right. Because in the end, only what you do for Christ will last.
Come on, come on,
Only what you
come
do for Christ
on.
will
And
last.
the
That
heart
other
that
stuff
you
is going to
do it
fade away.
in.
Yes,
Yes. And the heart that you do it in. Yes.
exactly. What do you love most about being a woman?
Ooh. Well, I love dressing up. I love being the girly girl.
Hmm.
I love just the feminine part of me. I love that part. My like I told you, my grandmother was a pastor, so seeing her with the Sunday suits and the big hats with the matching purse and the heels, and I was her armor bearer for some years, and so going to her house and laying everything out Saturday before Sunday comes, and just being that girly girl. I love that part of being a woman, and the empowerment that I'm able to give in that. So the walk that God has given me to walk in that, I love that part.
Great. And someone needs to hear that, because there are a lot of women who are beautiful in their own right,
Right.
but they struggle. They struggle with self esteem. They struggle with knowing their value and their worth, because they are attributing it to magazine images and
Mhm.
celebrity
Mhm.
images and what they
Mhm.
see on social media. But just to hear you say you love to just be the girly girl.
Right. Right. And I'm a thick girl, so I'm not a size 6 or 8, but I'm a thick girl, and I love when people say, "Oh my God, I love the way you dress," or "I love how you um wore those shoes. I would have never wore those shoes with that dress," or that, you know what I mean, how to put it all together. But I can honestly say, let's go back to younger Tina. She didn't have that. She
Right.
didn't have the self-esteem already put together. She didn't have the um did I know my self-worth? No. It was a lot of things that happened in my childhood that distorted that. Let me
Hmm.
put it that way. Um but I believe over the years, I did go through a divorce, and so I left mom's house, got married, and then once we separated and divorced, I had to really find out, who am I? I'm not Shirley K's daughter. I'm not Wonderful Ryan's granddaughter. I'm no longer Gerald Jefferson's wife. Who am I? I was
Hmm.
so lost. Um, but I think that's when God began to build, and I'm maybe coming up into one of your questions. You asked about um, where did Superwoman come into play? Um, this is where Superwoman comes into play, because at the time of being separated, I never lived on my own. I've never paid all the bills. I've never, you know what I mean, been a mom by a single mom. So all of that coming into play, and I had to really lock in on, okay, Lord, I need you to show me who I am. What am I supposed to be doing? Don't get me wrong. I've always been in ministry, always mentored, always coached, always did all those things, but I was doing them without really knowing who I was. I was doing them because that was what I was taught.
Right. Wow.
And I think some of us get so used to, this is what I was taught to do, that we never tap in to the hidden compartments of who we really are,
Right.
and allow
Exactly.
God to reveal and pull back the layers of molested Tina, pull back the layers of abandoned Tina, pull back the layers of rejected Tina. And once God started doing all of that stuff, he said, now this is what he told me.
Hmm.
I'm going to make you into the superwoman you were created to be. That's where
Wow.
Superwoman came into play.
Wow. That is awesome.
After he pulled back all those layers and said, now this is who I've called you to be. I didn't call you to walk into rejection, like take rejection on and put it on as clothes, and this is who I am. No, 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 that's not who you are. That's what you went through.
Right.
And I think
Exactly.
sometimes we forget. And that's not your only testimony. I brought you through so many other things, not just those, you know what I mean, those things that hurt you. And I think we lead with hurt, and we forget that God is also a healer.
Right. And if we weigh it out, most of us will see that he has healed us and he's been there for us in
All the
more
time.
ways
Yes,
than
yes,
those moments that could have defined us,
right,
but they did not.
right,
Yes.
right.
Not become defined
Come on.
by your valley experiences.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah. Because those valley experiences, we all have them, but they're different for
absolutely,
each of us. But
absolutely.
you have to own it. You have to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't act like it didn't exist. It's real. It's true. Own your
Yes,
feelings. What happened at that moment, but you don't
yes,
stay there.
right, right.
But
And I think a lot of us, we say we are healed. We say, "Oh, this moment is not defining me," and some of us are stuck. Reason I know we're stuck is your testimony. If that's your only testimony,
all the time,
all the time, you're stuck.
Right.
What is their testimony? I tell everybody during the separation from my first husband, like I said, I didn't know how to pay bills. I came from my mama house. And so knowing that I was a director at a child care center for years, and I was making it off of $10 an hour. Now, how was I making it off of $10 an hour when your rent is $600-700, your car note, your insurance, your light bill, your and I can go on and on, groceries and all of that, and nothing ever got cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever got taken away. I never had a car repoed. I didn't miss a payment. How? Only God could do it.
Right.
Only God can do it. And I'm okay. Come on, because I'll
But
go.
but you know what that means? Something that is so profound, because a lot of people are seeking healing, but God can make you whole.
Ooh,
And
that's good.
what you've just spoken is wholeness.
Yes.
Because healing is, I've dealt with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But wholeness means I've restored you where there are no remnants left behind.
Come on. Because
So
nowhere
that's what you just
do I
spoke.
look like. Come
Nah.
on. Nowhere do I look like what I've been through. No, nowhere do I look like what I've been through.
Right.
Nowhere do I look like, again, I can give you so many testimonies where me and my husband was talking the other day on a ride down to the couples trip. And I said, babe, he allowed us to start a business in 2022. And the first year of the business, we were like, ooh, Lord, okay, you told us to do this, but where's the where's the money, Jesus? How much longer are we going to be able to hold on? And even then my husband had to start driving for Uber, because
Mm-hmm.
we were like, okay, we got this business, but it's not maintaining anything yet. And then all of a sudden, Tanshel, all of a sudden, it's like jackpot just went off. People started coming, people started buying, my husband sells lumber, and it just became almost overwhelming. So now we're at the point where we didn't have enough, to the point where it's overwhelmingly enough.
Right.
Do that make sense?
Right.
And then also we had Hurricane Beryl came through, and it destroyed everything that my husband built.
Mm-hmm.
All of the lumber was gone. All of the shed that he had built was gone. We literally, we have pictures where we're literally looking out on the land like, oh my God, we can't recover from this. You heard me say we can't recover from this.
Right.
6 weeks later, 6 weeks, God restored everything. And not only restored it, he doubled
Wow.
what we were making before. Don't tell me what my God can't do when you trust him.
Right. And you have to know him before you need him.
Ooh, child, right?
That's the key. You have to know him before you need him,
And we
because you
say
don't
all
get
the
stale.
time, we say all the time, me and my husband, we say all the time, God has never failed us.
Right.
He's never allowed us to miss anything. He's never allowed us to go without. He's never allowed, if we wanted to start, I'm doing a little hat business right now. If I want to start a hat business, it looked like everything that God allows us to do, he always comes through for it.
Right.
But we've
Right.
always trusted him. Why? Because we know him. We have a relationship with him. And we know the Bible say that he's never seen the righteous forsaken,
Mm-mm.
nor his seed
Never.
begging bread. So it's no reason
Absolutely.
for me to beg. I just sit back and say, well, I know God gonna do this.
Right.
God gonna come through. God gonna fix it. I'm leaving it in God's hand. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to try to rearrange it because, oh, Lord, how many times do we touch it, pick it up? We want to rearrange. Well, let me help God. No, God doesn't need any help if you really trust him like you say you do.
Exactly. And he's coming. He really wants you to sit back
Come
and take your hands off
on. Come
so
on.
you can see it's all him and none of you.
Come on. And to him again so he can get the glory.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
he
It's
can
such
get the
a
glory.
joy
Yes.
to be his chosen one.
Oh my
And
gosh.
what's so awesome about God is he can choose you, he can choose me, he can choose each of us, and nothing is going to take away for how he chooses to bless you. I don't care how many of us he's saying about. It's
My God.
tailor-made just for you. And my personal motto is what God has for me is for me.
It's for me.
So I
Yes.
don't worry about what God is doing with other people because that's not for me.
Come on.
That's why I can
Come
clap for
on.
other people because it's not for me. When he comes to see about me,
Mm-hmm.
stand back and give me room.
Because it's coming, huh?
It's coming. Yes, ma'am. It is coming.
And his blessings is with it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you have always, through your grandmother and through the foundational practices and ministry that was instilled in you, you've always been working in the kingdom.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you needed to tell God yes for
Ooh.
the next level? When God says, I've been using you at that level. Now I'm going to shift you. When did that happen?
I would say when I met my now pastor.
Okay.
Um, oh Lord, I gotta think back. It's been about 15 years I've been with Pastor Bailey. When I had to leave my grandmother's church, God was like, it's time. She's laid the foundation. She's helped do the framework, but there's someone else that I have to help build you up, if that makes sense. And leaving was the hardest thing in the world. That was all I knew. All my
Right.
life was, you know, this church, my grandmother, pastor. And so leaving there and finding Pastor Bailey, Pastor Robert Bailey, coming into his ministry and him sitting me down saying, okay, what's the vision in your belly? I was like, what? Me? No, Pastor, I'm just here to be a servant. I'm just here to serve in the background. uh, he was like, no, there's a vision. There's a vision that God has placed in your belly, and I'm here to help birth it. And I'm like, Lord, no, no, I'm good. I'm good doing what I'm doing. And well, I'm gonna tell you what I was running from. I was running from women's ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to do women's ministry. I love y'all, but I was running from that. And that was something that I've been called to. I knew I was called to it, but I didn't want to do it. So I did everything around it. I did choir director. I did a Sunday school teacher. I did ministry. I sung in the choir. I did all of that to avoid what he called me to. But once I got there, he wouldn't let Pastor Robert Bailey wouldn't let me run,
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't let me hide. And he said, I'm going to give you to a certain time. He gave me a time limit, and he said, I want your vision. I want your motto. I want your write it down, make it plain. I want everything like a business plan. And he said, bring it to me, by this certain time. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I was just going to be able to come in here, sit in the back, you
Mm-hmm.
know, be needed where I need, and I was going to be fine. He wouldn't let me sit. And so once I brought him Purpose Ministries, he read over it. We worked it out and all of that. We got a date for a lunch date, and he said, "Woman of God, this is what you're doing." And I'm like, wow, what other pastor lets you come in and start your own personal ministry and help you build it?
Wow.
And so,
And that's awesome.
hmm and that's when my yes had to change, because I couldn't keep the same yes from my grandmother. I couldn't keep the same yes from little girl Tina. I couldn't keep the same yes. I had to change it and have a yes to what was getting ready to come. If that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Oh no, that makes sense. And the reason why it makes sense is because my story is similar.
Mm,
Because I thought I was church administration. I've been doing administrative things and planning since I was 10 years old.
mm-hmm,
And,
mm-hmm,
and I can do it on a level that most of the time it drives other people crazy
right.
because I'm a stickler for detail.
Me too.
And I didn't I didn't grow up hanging with a bunch of women.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had gone to a pastor's anniversary, and there was a pastor there who did not know me. And normally I never go in lines for prayer because I don't let just anyone put their hands on me.
Same here.
But this particular time I was sitting in the front. And so he says, anyone needs to hear from God. And this was at a time where I was going through a challenge in my marriage at that time. So I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stepped out.
Mm-hmm.
This man says to me, the women's ministry that God is giving you, it's time to birth it. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he said, I see you preaching. I see you teaching. I see you working with women. And I'm thinking, can't be me. I don't hang with women.
Rock, come
I
on.
don't hang with women.
Uh,
And this man began to speak into my life,
mhm.
stranger. But God had been showing me myself
Wow.
teaching,
Wow.
but it didn't have a face. The audience didn't have a
Right.
face. So I'm thinking, what is this? And just like you, after he said that, everything came to me. The name, the
Yeah.
motto, just
Yeah.
everything. So I actually was pushed in
Mm.
to
Mm-hmm.
purpose because God had been showing it to me, but I refused to accept that because I
Right.
was church administration.
Come on.
And Lord, I'm
And was
dealing with
okay
stuff.
with it.
I thought I was. I thought I was. I was fine
Yeah.
with church administration. I could help the pastors. I could lay it out, get it organized.
Come
That's what I'm going to do.
on. Come on.
But God says, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to still need that.
appreciate it, but I got something else.
I
Yeah.
have something
Yeah.
else. You all that you've been doing, and I did just like you. I was the usher, the greeter,
Yeah.
the choir
Come on.
president, everything. And the funny thing is, I had done everything but preach.
My
I've taught
God.
lessons. I was over children's church.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote plays. I did everything but preach. I was a teacher sometimes. But God knew what he wanted to do. So
Right.
you and I have a similar testimony.
Right.
Testimony.
Right. I think we talked a little bit about that before, that
Mhm.
I think that's when we started with the best friend
No,
thing,
the
because
best friend came when we were at that conference, and
Lisa
I had to
Lisa
speak
Ricardo.
after you. Had to speak after you. But we were talking the day before, and it was just like we just clicked.
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna be my best friend." And then when we had to minister, and you tore the house down,
Oh my God.
and then gonna pass me the mic, I said, "You're not my best friend. No way.
Oh my gosh. That,
No."
We did. I think we just talked and clicked, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" It's not too often, too many people you meet that you just automatically click with, and just, and I was like, "Oh, I need this baby as my best friend."
Yes. And then
But
gonna tear the
yeah,
house down and pass me the mic. What?
oh my God, oh my God. But yeah,
Yes.
I didn't want to do it. I was like, Lord, put me anywhere else in the church. I'll do anything else. I don't want to do women's ministry. And then, honestly, I was looking at too. I said, our church at the time, I told you I just started kind of joining, they had a women's ministry.
Hmm.
So I was like, how is this going to work? How how am I going to do this? And we have one here. And Pastor Bailey was like, hey, you worried about the wrong thing. God is going to send some women that is going to follow you, that's going to be there, that's going to support you. And it may not necessarily be the women in this church. And I was just like, okay. But of course, at that time, I couldn't wrap my head around that. I couldn't wrap my head around me. Somebody going to support me. Someone's going to help me, you know. And but God did just what he said he was going to do. Just
Yes.
what he said. And that's been 10, yeah, this will be the 10th year of Purpose Ministries.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank
Thank God
you.
for that. Thank God for
Thank
your
you.
obedience.
Thank you.
Let us
Yes.
know what it's like to be an intercessor behind the mic.
Ooh.
Because a lot of people see the mic during intercession, but an
Mm-hmm.
intercessor has a place when the mic is off. What is that like for you?
Uh, intercession for me. Now that I'm an empty nester, my kids are grown and they're out the house, and I'm able to have a lot more time with him. It seems like I have a lot of sleepless nights. I'm always up praying. Always up checking on people. I'm always up moving. I'm always up. There's always uh how do I want to word it? It's always intercession time for me. I can be at work, and I have people that'll come in, and once they shut their door, I'm like, come on. I know. Come on, just
Right.
come on. You know, uh and my ex owner boss, I'm sorry, ex-boss, she told me one time, she said, I don't know what it is about your office, but every time I come in here, she said, I feel God. I said, baby, because I walk with that man and he takes me everywhere he goes.
Yes.
And I take him everywhere I go because I can't live without I can't prayer is my air that I breathe.
Hmm. Yes.
Prayer is what keeps me stable.
Yes, Lord.
Because it's been a time where, okay, whew, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Be free.
Prayer saved my life.
Yes.
Because it was a time I went through something, Tanchel, and I wanted to take my life. I
Wow.
wanted to take my life. I think I had called my sister one time and I said, hey, I'm getting ready to drop the kids off. And I can't do this.
Hmm.
I can't. Um, but this was a time where after I separated from my husband, my first husband, and I just didn't know how to do it. And that's when I was telling you he was peeling back onion layers and all kind of stuff. So stuff was being revealed. I hadn't really dealt with stuff from my childhood, and it was just like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm this superwoman that you want me to be. I don't think I'm strong enough for what you're calling me to, God, because I don't see myself coming out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was prayer. It was prayer that just turned it around for me. I laid there one day, and I don't know if you ever experienced this, but my grandmother would say, she used to teach us how to moan.
Mm-hmm. Yes, when you have no words to say.
Ooh. Where she would just put us on the altar and she'll hand us a mic and she said, just moan. And I'm like, what? I don't even know what that means. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know. But I remember laying out on that floor and I said, God, this is all I got.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with just a moan.
Right.
And I moaned till my belly was sore.
Mm-hmm.
I cried out till I couldn't move. We could call it tarrying. They don't do all that no more. But
Right.
baby, I tarried on my living room floor, just me and God. And when he said, I'm making you into this intercessor, this prayer warrior, and I'm gonna tell you something that's probably gonna really make you say no. But I can, if if Pastor Bailey said, Pastor Tina, come up here, I need you to open prayer. Do you know nothing can come out of my mouth?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can come out. And I'll like freeze up. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't pray. I can't do anything. And but you put a person in front of me and put their hand in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
it changes.
Right.
They'll be like, how do you know that? How did you see that? Where did that come from? Oh my God, no, I've never told anybody that. I said, it's not me, it's God. But I can't anyway. So the intercession to me has just been air.
Right.
It's how I breathe. And so now that's what I do. Being that I'm an empty nester, my husband sometimes he be in a room sleep and he'd say, oh, she's praying. He just wake up and shut the door to the bedroom because I'm gone.
Right.
I'm no more good. This 3, 4 in the morning, right before I have to get up for work. But that's my answer. It's my air. I can't do anything without intercession, without prayer, without God speaking to me. I don't know how people would go days and don't speak to God. It's no way.
Right.
It's
Right.
no way. He's been just that good to me. Better than good. And as you hear the songwriter say, he's been better than good to me. So how dare I not give him my all? So,
Absolutely. And I usually tell people that being an intercessor is different from being a prayer warrior,
oh yeah.
because a
Yeah.
prayer warrior can bring people before God
Mm-hmm.
and war with people, but an intercessor
Intercession will
stands
take
in
you
the
in there.
gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even when you depart from the person, you can
It's
still be
they
the
still
target.
mm-hmm.
You're the gap.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
darts are coming at you because you stood in intercession before another. A prayer warrior can pray and leave
Yeah.
it there.
Mm,
You don't get to do that when you're an intercessor.
yeah. It's been times I leave church and I can be on the freeway. I have to pull over because I'm still crying. I'm still weeping. I'm still carrying that person with me.
Right.
My husband be just like, girl, what? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Pull over, pull over, pull over.
Yes.
Let me finish this because it's not. Then when I get home, I'm still going. It just to me, and this is what I tell people. I take you to the feet of God.
Right.
Prayer warriors can bring you to Him, but I take you to the feet of Him.
Right.
I take you where the healing is, the hem of His garment. I take you there,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't leave you there. I'm there with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's my part as an intercessor. To me, that's what my gifting is. Um, I bring you to the place, where he is, where he's standing at that moment and saying, "Here I am.
Right.
Take what
And
you need." And
and I've got you. I've got you while we're here.
come on, and right where you are,
Yes, I've
I,
got
I got
you.
you. So yeah,
Yes. That's key because people need to know the difference.
yes,
And
yes,
all of us can be a prayer warrior, even a
everybody,
child.
you
A
should be
child can be a prayer warrior,
absolutely.
but
It's
intercession
different.
is
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
And
And
so,
an intercessor has to have a relation, not just a relation, but a commitment, you know, just a one-on-one with him. Because if not, you're not able to take the people there.
right.
You're not able to take them there if you don't. Yeah. Anyway,
And you
yes,
have
ma'am.
to be able to, like they say, take a licking and keep on ticking as an
Um.
intercessor. Because when you do it on a level where you have the people and it's multiple people
Mhm.
that you are
Mhm.
interceding for, the
Mhm.
darts and the attacks will be different because the
Yes.
people are different and their needs are different.
Yes.
And if you're standing in the gap, sometimes while you're praying for one, you're being hit in the back by
Oh
another.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that's key because we have to be able to continue to work wounded
Right.
as the intercessor.
Oh God.
Wounded.
Oh God. Yeah. Bleeding and all
Yes.
sometimes. Yeah.
And sometimes you get cut by the people you're praying for. Come on now. Tell the truth.
I almost got on up out the car. I was like, that's it. But yes,
Tell the
yes,
truth.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's. I tell anybody, I love you, but there's only a set few that can really get close to me.
Right.
Reason being, because if I'm not able to tell you what thus says the Lord, if I can't, you know what I mean? If you can't accept what I'm about to, you don't want to be close to me. Sometimes they think, oh, she's a prophet, and I want to be. No, no, this ain't what you want. In the words, this ain't what you want. You really have to be disciplined and anchored, anchored. Um, to walk close to any intercessor and prophet.
Right.
It's a lonely walk.
Right.
It's a lonely walk.
And you have to get to a place where you're comfortable with people walking away.
Ooh,
You
because how many times?
you can't
Yeah.
be wrapped up in numbers because there are people who will not be able to see what you stand for in the kingdom realm. So you have to
Hmm.
be comfortable with people walking away.
And it's a constant. It's a
Yes.
constant. Yeah, switch and change of people. Yeah, yeah.
And you have to accept when the season has ended.
Ooh, that was so hard for me in the beginning.
Yes.
After it
Seasons
feel
end.
like I poured and I spent and I, just really put all my all into it. And for you to turn and walk away, I was just like defeated at first. I was just like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong, something not right, and it took a minute. My pastor really had to work with me. Hey, Tina, he said, if I fall apart every time somebody walk away, he said, I'll never be able to preach. I'll never be able to pour. I'll never be able to give you what God, you know what I mean? That's a constant circle, like the doors that spin. It's a constant in and out, and I had to learn that. I'm
Right.
not funny, but I seeing my grandmother or whatever, the same people for so many years. I'm just like, well, how does it work over there and I can't get that over here? I thought I was doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But um yeah, it's something I had to learn over the years. Something
And once
I've
you
learned over
embrace
the years.
it,
Yeah.
then you understand that it's going to happen.
Right.
And it's
Right.
because you've given them as much as you can give them.
That's right.
And
That's
some people
right.
you have to
That's
release.
right.
It's
That's
not
right.
a bad thing. It's just I have to release you because I've given you all that I can give you, and be okay with that.
Yes, I had to learn that there's seasons. There's people seasons, and then there's seasons where you're gonna have there's seasons, and seasons change.
Right. Right.
And once I mastered that, I was like, I got it, God. I
Hmm.
got it. I got it. And then I went through a period where my heart had got so hardened toward people because I was like, I can't keep opening myself up. I can't keep opening myself up to get hurt. And my pastor worked with me. Hey, Tina, you still have to soften your heart toward people. You still gotta love. You still gotta reach out. You still gotta show compassion. You still gotta love when it don't look like they love you. And I was just like, oh my God. This, that's when that yes. Remember, I had to get the new yes.
Right.
I had to get that fresh yes because my yes was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this, God. But that fresh yes. You're right, God. I'll do what you say do. I'll go where you say go. If this part of the assignment, I got it. I got it. I got it. So absolutely, I agree.
And that's because you know that you are in purpose, and purpose can't be denied. It can't be denied. So tell us
Yes.
about Purposeful Ministries.
So as I told you a little while ago, Purpose Ministry started kind of with my pastor saying, there's a vision in you, and there's something God wants you to do, something greater than what you're doing now. And I'm here to help birth it. And when I tell you, he's been with me every step of the way. But Purpose Ministries is a ministry where we make sure that every woman knows their purpose and what to walk in and how to walk in it and how to find your purpose. We have so many people that say, I don't know what I know I have a purpose, but I don't know what it is. Well, that's where Purpose Ministry comes in. We effectively lead you to your purpose. That's
Great.
our motto. Effectively leading women to purpose.
And that's great because I've had women to say they don't know their purpose. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell them purpose can't be denied. It's
Yep.
in you.
Yep.
You just have to tap into it. But you first have to accept
Come
how
on.
God chooses to use you in purpose.
Come on.
Can't
Because
fight it.
again, we didn't want to do this.
Exactly.
We
We
had
didn't
to
want to do this.
accept, right? We had to accept. And I think that's what so many, I tell anybody, purpose is majority of the time you're already doing it,
Right. Yes.
right? Being a church admin, you already were working with women. You were already
Exactly.
helping to put them where they needed to be or organize it or whatever you were doing, you were already doing it. It was just a little bit different, and he was trying to turn you a little bit more to say, I want you to lead this thing. And so purpose is already what you're doing. I love kids. I love children. I love educating children. I love pre-K. I'm early, early childhood. I love early childhood. I like when they're just starting out, when their minds are just now wrapping around things and words and stuff like that. And so I've been doing early childhood education since I was 17 years old. I'm 48 to be 49 this year. Something I was already doing,
Right.
right? Working with children. So that's my purpose in life. Now my purpose in ministry is women. I it's just what God gave me to do. I can reach them. I can reach them when no one else can reach the woman. Why? Because I've been through so much, and every testimony hasn't been wasted because I'm able to tell them, hey, girl, I've been through that. I may
Right.
not look like it,
Right.
I may not act like it, but I've been there.
Hmm.
It ain't too much you can say you did. I have not done. I haven't done, I haven't been through, I haven't experienced, right?
Hmm.
So now let me help you find your purpose like God helped me find mine.
Right.
Let's walk this thing out. Let's talk this thing out. Let's find scriptures. Let's do it. I love to sit and on a one-on-one and just go for what God has said. And so that's Purpose Ministries in a wrap.
Right. And it's such a joy when they come into the knowledge of it. It's the
Absolutely.
light comes on and to see the freedom in their
Right,
faces
right,
because now they've come into the awareness of
right.
who God has purposed them to be.
To be. Mm-hmm.
Now, I
Mm-hmm.
know you are the superwoman, but I have seen you address your husband as Superman. I've seen him have on shirts that say Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean to him for you to acknowledge him in that manner?
Uh, I don't. You know, I looked at that question you sent it, and I was like, oh God, I don't know what this. Oh, I don't know what to say with this one. But let me say this with it. Um, I was not looking to marry again.
Hmm.
Once that first going through all of that, getting settled with finding me and all of that, I didn't want to go through the hassle of doing it again. I was happy being single. I wasn't looking for no husband. And so when Charles kind of walked into my life, it was like, no, 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 no. I told him, I said, I'm very stubborn. I like things my way. I'm good.
Hmm.
And I don't want to change it. And I don't want you to change it. Leave me alone. Let's stay friends. Let's stay friends and be okay with that. But it took my pastor saying, you're gonna miss out on something really special if you don't open your heart to what God is doing. And he said it could only God would only give you God would only give Superwoman a Superman.
Wow. Well, well, well.
And I'm a little blushing right now. But God would only give Superwoman a Superman. And that's what he Tanchelle, that's what he did.
Oh my gosh, that is so
That's what he
awesome.
did. He's everything I didn't know I needed.
Hmm.
Not so much what I want, because our wants are kind of superficial, but that man is everything I didn't know I needed. And God sent him. So with God sending him, he had to send a Superman to a Superwoman. So
Exactly.
that's why you hear me call him Superman.
And that's actually speaking life into him
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
we don't always know what men are going through and how they process it.
Right.
And something small like that, just to hear you say it, can be exactly what he needs to fight on when the world is beating him down and he comes home to be what you need him to be.
And exactly. When the hurricane came, I was telling you about that a little bit earlier, and we lost everything. There's a picture I have of him, and he's standing in front of the land, and lumber is just everywhere. Things are broken, and he's standing right there in the midst of it. And I remember going home. I remember us going back to the house, and I showed him this picture, and I said, "Babe, it won't be this way always. God is going to brighten your horizon, right?"
Hmm.
And I remember just saying everything that God was getting ready to do for us. And I said, we may not see it. I said, but this was a blessing in disguise. And it was, and I remember him kind of sticking his chest out a little bit saying, well, God, if you believe it, Okay, wait. Let me wipe my tear because I've never seen my husband cry. Never seen him cry. But to see him looking out over that land and tears running down his eyes, and for me to go home and be able to build him back up and say, nope, don't look at what it looked like now.
Right.
You know, picture this, Golden Girls. Picture this, uh, Houston 2025. We gonna have lumber here and lumber there and lumber everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, I'm gonna do something really, really fancy right now. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm actually at our property. Okay, so let me show y'all this. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. So this is what God has done. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Do you see all of this lumber?
Yes. Yes.
None of this was here. All of this was destroyed. Every bit of it was gone.
Look at God.
But look what God did. Look at
Look at God.
y'all.
Testify.
I don't know what this means. I don't know if this is even. I hope it's helping somebody. But
Yes.
look at this.
Yes.
When I say it was flat, all of this was in the property next door. It was just all over the place. God restored. He's a restorer. And this just half of it. Because if I take you in the building, you'd be amazed.
Yes. He's a restorer.
He's a restorer. And he did that from me just pumping him up,
Yes.
encouraging my husband that what you see now is not the end. God has so much greater. And like I said, you kind of saw his chest start poking out and he started getting vision and ideas start coming in his head and all kind of things. Y'all look at my grandbaby. I'm sorry, she's getting ready to go to 8th grade prom. But God did that. And
Yes.
if he
Because
did it for us, he'll do it for you guys. It's just a testimony.
yes. Yes, that is awesome. Because you spoke life back into him. And
Yes.
I'm not going to keep you any longer, but I thank you so much for being my special guest. And thank you for
Thank
your
you.
story.
Absolutely.
And I thank
Absolutely.
God for all that you're doing in the kingdom. May He continue to bless you and your husband. You know, I
Thank
love you, sis.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for listening to me ramble on. I appreciate everything. And Tonchelle, you keep doing what God told you to do.
Thank you
Greater,
so much.
greater, 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 greater things. Greater
Yes,
things.
Lord. Thank you. And we'll get together soon. So you take care and go and
Absolutely.
see your babies off.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love you. I love y'all. Thank
You're
y'all.
welcome. Have a great day. I love you and talk to you
You too.
later.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Sorry.